They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists.
Who's number one with Hispanics? Trump.
Yes. They're rapists.
I love the Mexican people in their spirit.
They're rapists. And Mexico will pay for the wall.
He's a war hero because he was captured.
I have such respect for women.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals.
But I wouldn't do that.
You brag that you have sexually assaulted women. Do you understand that?
No, I didn't say that at all. I don't think you understood what was said. This was locker room talk. Every woman lied when they came forward to hurt my campaign.
Believe me, she would not be my first choice, that I can tell you. I'm going to take such good care of women's health care issues.
Do you believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no, as a principle?
The answer is that there has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah, there has to be some form.
I have tremendous respect for women.
She's the devil.
If you look at Bill Clinton, his was what he's done to women. There's never been anybody in the history of politics in this nation that's been so abusive to women.
Is there anybody you'd like to apologize to right now yourself?
No. I think I would probably get along very well with Putin. I know nothing about Russia.
Would I approve waterboarding? You bet your ass I'd approve. ISIS is honoring President Obama. He is the founder of ISIS. He founded ISIS. And the co-founder would be crooked Hillary Clinton. Oh, throw him the hell out of here. I love babies.
Actually, I was only kidding. You can get the baby out of here.
Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters.
I always wanted to get the Purple Heart. This was much easier.
I don't know, honestly, I don't know David Duke. I don't believe I've ever met him. I'm pretty sure I didn't meet him, and I just don't know anything about him.
Condemn David Duke and say that you don't want his vote or that of other white supremacists in this election?
Well, just so you understand, I don't know anything about David Duke, okay? I don't know anything about what you're even talking about with white supremacy or white supremacy. Because, you know, I know nothing about David Duke. I know nothing about white supremacy.
David Duke. I mean, George Bush was very, very strong against David Duke. I think if David Duke runs, David Duke is going to get a lot of votes. Whether that be good or bad, David Duke is going to get a lot of votes.
Honestly, I don't know David Duke. I don't believe I've ever met him. I'm pretty sure I didn't meet him, and I just don't know anything about him.
All right. Written by a nice reporter. Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. We'll totally accept the results of this great and historic presidential election if I win. So go and register. Make sure you get out and vote November 28th.
I'm not sure that I've ever even heard of the Category 5. I knew it existed. The Category 5 is something that I don't know that I've ever even heard. It was a Category 5. I never even knew a Category 5 existed. Got hit as a 5, Category 5 storm, which just literally never happened. I knew it existed. A Category 5, which few people have ever even heard of.
A Category 5. Nobody's ever heard of a 5 hitting land.
Category 5 hurricane, Category 5.
I don't know that I've ever even heard the
In fact, there have been several Category 5 hurricanes since he became president. The president, who canceled a trip to Poland in order to monitor the storm, spent much of today at his golf club in Virginia.
President Obama should have gone to Louisiana days ago instead of golfing. Too little, too late. While our wonderful president was out playing golf all day, the TSA is falling apart just like our government. Airports a total disaster. I remember the airports becoming a complete and utter disaster when the government was shut down for 35 days under Trump's watch. I play golf to relax. My company is in great shape. Barack Obama plays golf to escape work while America goes down the drain. By the way, he had tweeted about Obama playing golf 27 times.
Oh, my companies are in great shape. You bankrupted 6 companies, you loser.
Literally the dumbest person elected as president in the United States.
But as a Category 5 idiot.
People are flushing toilets 10 times, 15 times. Give us that again. Can you do that again? And you go person, woman, man, camera, TV. If you get it in order, you get extra points.
I want to thank the White House Historical Association and all of the people that worked so hard with Melania, with everybody to
keep this incredible house or building or whatever you want to call it, because there really is no name for it. It is special.
It's called the White House. It definitely has a name, a fairly well-known name. You live inside it. This building, whatever it's called.
Situation where we're looking very strongly at sinks and showers and other elements of bathrooms. They take a shower and water comes dripping out, just dripping out, very quietly dripping out.
Why is he talking about his bathroom problems? And it turns out it's because officials were going to Trump and saying, stop clogging up the toilets with the evidence you're trying to get rid of.
The problem is not that Putin is smart, which of course he's smart, but the real problem is that our leaders are dumb. If Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Stop it! Oh, it's so weird.
I will build a great, great wall, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall. Mark my words.
J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States. If we're leaving Iraq and Iran is going to take it over, why don't we just take over the oil? We should take it over.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
Like you'll go person, woman, man, camera, TV. China has total respect for Donald Trump and for Donald Trump's very, very large brain. Concept of tests aren't necessarily great. The tests are perfect, but something can happen between a test where it's good and then something happens and all of a sudden she was tested very recently and tested negative. And then today, I guess, for some reason, she tested positive.
What crime exactly are you accusing President Obama of committing, and do you believe the Justice Department should prosecute him?
Obamagate. It's been going on for a long time. It's been going on from before I even got elected.
What is the crime exactly that you're accusing him of?
You know what the crime is. The crime is very obvious to everybody. All you have to do is read the newspapers, except yours.
I have two questions.
No, it's okay.
But you pointed to me. I have two questions, Mr. President.
Next, please.
But you called on me.
I did, and you didn't respond, and now I'm calling on
Sorry, I just
the
wanted
young
to,
lady in the back, please.
I just wanted to let my colleague finish.
Okay.
But can I ask you a
Ladies
question,
and gentlemen,
please?
thank you very much. Appreciate it. This is an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water.
I am the chosen one. No, not you, not you. Your organization's terrible. Your organization's terrible. Let's go. And I love all people, rich or poor. But in those particular positions, I just don't want a poor person. Does that make sense?
They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen. This egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. On many sides. I think there's blame on both sides. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. We will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea. As bad as that hurricane was, and that was a bad one, that was a big water job, right? It kept coming in and going back. They couldn't get rid of it. They couldn't get rid of it. They couldn't get rid of it. Call her Pocahontas.
Little Rocket Man, he is a sick puppy.
We have a good relationship.
He is a sick puppy.
And then we fell in love.
Okay? He presides over a cruel kingdom of repression, gulags, starvation, reports that he had his half-brother assassinated, slave labor, public execution. Why do you love that guy?
Look, I get along with him really well. In June of 1775, the Continental Congress created a unified army out of the revolutionary forces encamped around Boston and New York. The Continental Army suffered a bitter winter of Valley Forge, found glory across the waters of the Delaware, and seized victory from Cornwallis of Yorktown.
Our army manned the airports. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do. And just remember, what you're seeing and what you're reading is not what's happening. I've got more Indian blood in me than Pocahontas, and I have none. I will give you $1 million to your favorite charity, paid for by Trump, if you take the test and it shows you're an Indian.
Mr. President, you said you paid $1 million to charity.
I didn't say that. You better read it again. What do you have to lose? I'll say it again. What do you have to lose? Take it. Hydroxychloroquine. When somebody's the president of the United States, the authority is total. Supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or right, and then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute. If we were testing 1 million people instead of 14 million people, we would have far fewer cases. Right? So I view it as a badge of honor.
So I said to my people, slow the testing down, please.
The closest thing is in 1917, they say, right, where they lost anywhere from 50 to 100 million people. Probably ended the Second World War. All the soldiers were sick. The forest fires are starting. They're starting again in California. I said, you gotta clean your floors, you gotta clean your forests. Corona sounds like a place in Italy, a beautiful place. It's Corona. I think this was a blessing from God that I caught it.
I have done more for the African American community than any president, with the exception of Abraham Lincoln.
I won't talk about the fact that people have to flush their toilet 15 times. I'll only talk about showers. We were winning everything, and all of a sudden it was just called off. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election. In fact, dead people, and we have many examples, filled out ballots and then voted. And it's hydrosonic. I call it super duper because super duper is easier for people to understand than hydrosonic. I call it the super duper missiles that go very fast, hydrosonic, right? Super dupers. They go 5 to 7 times faster than the fastest missile in the world. They go so fast you can't do anything. I know more about wind than you do. It's extremely expensive, kills all the birds. So when we have a lot of cases, I don't look at that as a bad thing. I look at that as, in a certain respect, as being a good thing because it means our testing is much better. When reports come out that certain countries don't really like me too much, that's not because of my personality, although it could be that also. Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. When I went to the courthouse, which is also a prison, in a sense, they signed me in. People were crying. People that work there, professionally work there, that have no problems putting in murderers, and they see everybody. It's tough place. And they were crying. They were actually crying. They said, I'm sorry. I do. I read a lot. Really? You know, I read a lot. They like to say I don't read. I read a lot. I comprehend extraordinarily well. Probably better than anybody that you've interviewed in a long time. If you look at Mr. Pillsbury, the leading authority on China, he was on a good show, I won't mention the name of the show, recently, and he was saying that China has total respect for Donald Trump and for Donald Trump's very, very large brain.
But I wonder.
I think I am actually humble. I think I'm much more humble than you would understand. Is only looking at Trump, yet Joe Biden took massive amounts more documents, even removed many boxes to Chinatown. Well, right here, the United States is lowest in numerous categories. We're lower than the world.
Lower than the world?
Than person, woman, man, camera, TV. They say, that's amazing. How did you do that? I do it because I have like a good memory, because I'm cognitively there. President Xi is sharp. President Putin is sharp. Erdogan is sharp.
It's unclear to me that Donald Trump can comfortably read the written English language. I mean, like English written on pages. I genuinely think, after reviewing a bunch of videos and comments and evidence yesterday, that Donald Trump may barely be able to read.
There was one point when I asked him how he was preparing to possibly be president, and are you reading the great presidential biographies, for example? And he paused for an unusually long time. His voice became almost tender, and he said, you know, I've never read a biography, but I've always wanted to.
You ask him as he's leaving the interview and going to bed, what are you reading? What was that, and what did he say?
He kind of had that look, oh yeah, you got me. And then he tried to answer, and he said he's reading this book that Ed Klein wrote, A Hatchet Job on Hillary Clinton, which I'm sure he's not reading. Then there was a book about Nixon, which he couldn't remember exactly.
Right, so Trump has said many times on the campaign trail that one of the main reasons he'd be a good president was because of the stuff that he wrote about his life in Art of the Deal, but of course we know he didn't actually write it. The guy who actually wrote Art of the Deal, Tony Schwartz, he realized that not only did Trump have essentially no attention span whatsoever, which connects to his concerning level of TV watching, but also that he would be shocked to learn that Trump had read a single book cover to cover in his entire adult life. That's why he so prefers TV as his first news source. Information comes in easily digestible sound bites. I seriously doubt that Trump has ever read a book straight through in his adult life. He also said that during the entire 18 months that he was writing the book with Trump and observing Trump, he never once even saw a book on Donald Trump's desk or anywhere on in his office or in his apartment. His advisors have now also said Trump avoids reading any report or briefing that he finds to be too lengthy, and he will often just glance at the first page without even making it evident whether he understands what's on the page.
So I pressed a little harder and I said, well, how are you preparing? How will you make decisions as president? And he said, well, I'm not going to be reading any big reports or anything like that. And Trump said, don't send me any blanking reports, and said, because I won't read them.
Here is the first clip where Trump says, I don't read leases. Let's start with that.
Did you review the lease at all before you signed it?
No.
How many leases like this have you reviewed in your career?
Signed or reviewed?
Reviewed.
Not too many.
And then he's asked to read a portion, and his lawyer really doesn't like it.
Yeah.
You did not review this section
What
of the
does
lease,
that say?
Monetary damages. This is in the remedies
I
section.
did not, no.
Okay. Would you be able to read this section and tell us what your understanding of it is?
Objection. Mr. Trump isn't a lawyer.
I mean, do you want me to read it? It's long.
It is long.
It's very long.
I would like you to read just the monetary damages section, starting at the number 1 in the middle of the page.
I don't have my glasses. I mean, I am at a disadvantage because I didn't bring my glasses. This is such small writing.
All right, well, well, if the witness can't actually physically read the language,
I
that's a
mean,
problem.
it's very
but
small writing.
I
I
also-
can make it out. Do you want me to try?
Well, we can have,
Let's
you know
just
what we can do? We can have a bigger copy made of these pages.
Let
and
me
we'll
try.
come
Let me
back to
just do it.
Awkward. Very awkward. Insanely awkward. He doesn't have his glasses with him. Have we ever seen Trump wearing glasses when signing executive orders? Have we ever seen Trump wearing glasses at those countless rallies where he goes up on stage with polling data? And instead of reading it, he sort of weirdly paraphrases what he thinks it says.
Yeah, it's all damages that the landlord may sustain, including all legal fees and everything else involved. Looks like everything in the kitchen sink to me. Then you have number 2.
Yeah. The guy can barely read, Pat.